Hi, today I would like to talk about uh, the subject of acceptance, spiritual acceptance of things in our life, the acceptance of what is outside, the outer conditions of our lives, and the acceptance also what is inwardly. And what is important is to see that the realities of our lives, how to deal with the realities of reality in our lives, and what is wisdom, how to apply wisdom in such dealing. This is important to understand, because if we don't deal with the realities of our lives with wisdom, then that can be the very source and the origin of our suffering. And acceptance of things, in that sense, the things that we can't change for the moment and the things that can be changed, but still accepting them until the time they are changed, is the very wise thing to do spiritually to deal with the things of our lives. So this is important, and that's why I would like to go into this subject a little bit today. There might be certain times in our lives which are difficult. We might go, all of us might have gone or will go in the future for sure some difficult times, and they are facts, right? There is the fact of losing my job, there is the fact of losing somebody I love, or many other things which might cause suffering in our lives. And how should we deal with these things? What is the wise path? And what importance does acceptance of the fact, which means living with the fact, have in this path, the wise path that we can take? I think with this, the a simple example will show us at least some light on our path. And it can be losing one's job, for instance. Let's start with a middle magnitude uh, problem we can face in our lives. And there can be other problems which can be much more difficult to face, like a serious sickness in the body, a disease, or there are things which can cause less friction, less conflict, less problem in our lives, like ending a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, these kind of stuff. So, but different level, different magnitudes of problems in our lives and how to face them. This is important. So that's why I would like to go into this a little bit. Start with an example of losing my job, for instance. What happens? Can I accept the fact as it is? It might take some time, but can I minimize that time? Instead of non-acceptance of this fact, which means falling into the trap of fear, disappointment, you know, darkness, spiritual wise, and then staying in that path for a long time is just wastage of energy. So I lost my job, okay, I need to suffer. Wisdom demands non-suffering at all. The wiser you become, the quicker you overcome, which means accept that fact and move forward immediately. If there is no wisdom, then you will be in great darkness, because you can't accept the fact. You don't want to accept. It was a very good job. I have spent so many years and I was very good in it, but they didn't understand what I did. They didn't love me there. Those kind of stuff. All these kind of blaming and whatever. But that means, that implies non-acceptance of the fact. But wisdom is acceptance of the fact. It doesn't matter why it took place, and you never know what's going to happen. Tomorrow I might find a much better job, which might change my life in a much better way. So, we don't know. But the acceptance of that fact is the ending of suffering which can be caused by that reality taking place in my life. So this is important to understand. How can I accept this fact? I can accept that fact easily only if I see that non-acceptance will cause nothing but suffering. So this is important to understand. If I see very clearly that if I don't accept this fact, then I will suffer. And if I take that path, basically, as we said, there are two paths to be taken. One, accept that fact and do what is necessary, and non-acceptance of that fact, which is suffering and the darkness of fear. So if I don't accept that fact, what happens? Very simple. If I don't accept that fact, I'll be basically always fearful, in conflict, resisting that fact. Something that has taken place in the past, it's finished already, but cannot accept that thing. Always friction with the fact. It has taken place already, it's finished. You can't go back in time and change that thing. It's gone. So, ending that thing is accepting that fact. And do what is necessary for the future. If I can't accept, if that is the path that I take, then I'll get lost in basically I'll waste my time and energy. And what will change at the end? That fact will still be there. The fact of losing my job is gone, finished. So I can either wisely accept this fact and continue with my life, look for a new job with energy, full of energy, because the very acceptance of that fact will give you the energy you need to look for a new job. And the very non-acceptance is the resistance, the suffering, the darkness of fear, which will suck your energy, so you won't even have a time to have this light of looking at life, with great strength. So that energy will increase your chances, possibilities of finding a new job, a good job. Because with that quality of energy, we will be connected to the order of universe. And then when we have that energy, somehow we will be directed to the new connections unexpectedly, which will come. Let's say meet somebody and then they will tell us there is another job there, which is a good job, or another person will come in. Somehow by coincidences, mostly unexpected things, you will be directed to a new path, a new job, which is perhaps better than the old one. But for that, you need that inward spiritual living energy of life. That's the only way to be connected to the universal order. Right? So, very simple. If we accept the fact inwardly and end all conflict and resistance, there's energy, there's light, and you'll be directed. You'll be connected to the movement of universe and the order of universe. You will find a new path. Non-acceptance basically will suck your energy. You will lose your connection with the universal movement, and what happens? You will get stuck there. So when you see this clearly, these two options, why taking that option instead of this? It is only when we don't see clearly, we fall into the trap of non-acceptance, and as a result, the darkness that will come out of it. So this is important to understand and to see. This is very important. See that non-acceptance and acceptance are the two things I can do. And if I don't accept, we see it's a dark thing, so why shouldn't I accept? But if I accept, I see there is light. Right? So seeing this, very simply, then immediately that seeing will keep us awake to the results and the consequences of non-acceptance of the facts of our lives, the realities of our lives. So this is important. Seeing that immediately awakens state of mind and you accept. And this acceptance is very much related with living in the present moment. Because non-acceptance can only take place if we are not living in the present moment, which means non-acceptance means when I lose my job, like for instance, I remember how I lost, why I lost, my memories, why did my boss treat me this way though I have spent my years there, right? All those kind of stuff. Memory, past, and also the future, the fear of not being able to find a good job, a job which is as good as the old one. So, time is bringing in the origin, the source of non-acceptance is time, whereas the moment I come to the present moment, totally, non-acceptance ends. There is no question of non-acceptance. I lost my job, let's say, yesterday. Okay, I suffered yesterday, but today, which means I suffered yesterday, means I lost my contact with the present moment yesterday because of this new fact of my life and the non-acceptance. And, okay, I lost my contact with the present moment, I suffered, but then today wisdom is coming back. I am entering into the present moment again. Right? This is very important to understand. I am now in the present moment. I accepted that fact. It's finished. Non-acceptance is basically destroy my day, today, tomorrow, and how many days. Until the time I accept that fact. I have to accept that fact at a certain time. I can't live with these memories of non-acceptance of losing a job all my life. It might take, in certain cases, a few weeks, even a few months, but you have to accept. You can't live with that thing all your life. You cannot live with that thing all your life because it's a middle magnitude thing, as we said. But if it is a high magnitude thing, something like losing somebody that we love unexpectedly, then many people can even live with that thing all their lives. You see? Which means they suffer all their lives because of a non-acceptance of a fact. Because it's a difficult thing to accept. There's a high magnitude event taking place in our lives. So there are different magnitude things and different capacity of acceptance, naturally, based on our level of wisdom and spiritual strength. So this is very important to understand. The wiser you get, as I said, the more spiritual inner energy and strength you will have, and the more there will be acceptance. It is not a choice anymore. You don't say I'll accept or non-accept. That strength, that spiritual strength, the energy of love and living in the present moment will end that non-acceptance. Because that's the original source and the cause of suffering. Right? So, we have seen now very clearly that non-acceptance of the facts of our lives is the source of friction and therefore conflict and suffering. Seeing this very clearly is the beginning of the very awakening to an intelligent state of mind. The moment you see this thing, already the mind is awakened. And it can deal with the things in a more awakened state. It can deal with the facts of life, the realities of life, with this quality of wisdom. What happens is, one might not be immediately hearing these things, immediately can reach the level of wisdom to be able to not waste even a single second or a minute and accept things as they happen. It might not take place, but then you begin this path. You will begin to walk on this path by hearing these words, or the concept of acceptance, spiritual acceptance of the facts in your life. So that's a new path to begin with, which will make one wiser and wiser. This is important. As I said, one of the very important things is seeing that non-acceptance will cause suffering and darkness and fear, which will suck your energy, which will disconnect you with the universal movement. This is the one thing. Second is present moment. When you leave, whenever the moment you enter into the present moment totally, there is no question of non-acceptance. You accept things as they are in the present moment, which means the fact of losing my job will naturally be accepted because I'm in the present moment. The non-acceptance must have its origins in time, as I explained a few minutes ago. So the moment I enter into the present moment is the ending of the suffering and conflict of non-acceptance of the realities of my life. This is important to understand. Now, here, another very important thing that we must be aware of is the thought process playing tricks on the facts of our lives. Which means, very simple, let's not complicate. The losing of my job is, let's say, a middle magnitude thing in my life, which is from a scale of 0 to 10, let's say it's, or from the objective point of view, as an objective reality, 5, of course it might differ from person to person, but from objective space, let's say it's 5 out of 10. Right? Somebody being diagnosed with cancer is probably 9 out of 10. So, in being relative to this, let's make losing the job 5 out of 10 on the scale, the magnitude. Now, why I said from the objective space is without thought, that is 5 out of 10. When thought comes in, based on the perception of each different person, that thought can make the same thing, exactly the same thing of losing the job in the same conditions, with the same amount of money you have in your pocket, with the same amount of outward conditions. One person might take it as 5 out of 10, and the other might take it 8 out of 10, and another might take 1 out of 10. So it really depends on the perception of the person, which means thought of the person, the thought, thinking. So let's be careful about this thing. Thought thinking mechanism has generally a tendency to make things or show things worse than their actual level of darkness. Like losing my job, as we said, let's put it middle, right, from objective point of view, or an average perception by people, 5 out of 10 on that difficulty magnitude scale. But thought, since that's why we must be extremely aware, thought generally has a tendency to magnify its real value on that scale, or magnify the darkness of that thing happening, showing it much worse than it actually is. It actually is, I lost my job. And many people lose their jobs. In some cases, it might be difficult to find a good one again, or you never know. As I said, most probably if you have that inner energy, spiritual strength, connection with the universe, which is the love energy, living life energy, then you might even find a better job. Maybe there was a reason why you lost that job. Maybe the river of life is taking you to a better path, a better job. So we don't know, right? This is very important to understand. But when thought comes in, when that life energy, the spiritual strength, the wisdom of acceptance is not there, or it is not good enough at a low level, then the darkness of thinking process will take over. And basically what it will do is, it will magnify this thing of losing the job. As we said, it's not the worst thing in life. There are much worse things in life, like being diagnosed with a cancer. It will take this middle magnitude thing and make it such a big thing because of the lack of wisdom. Because of the wisdom of acceptance of the fact as it is, without deceiving oneself, like saying things like, oh, this is not important. It might be important. Or deceiving on the other direction, which is, this is the end of my life. No, neither that nor this. This is the fact and this is the magnitude. Finished. This is wisdom, and I'll deal with it. The very movement away from the very actuality of that fact, which is, this is the fact and this is the magnitude. Let's not make it worse or make it something not important. It has certain importance, but this is its magnitude. 5 out of 10. Let's not make it worse than that. Okay? And don't deceive yourself by saying it's not important, I'll find a new job. That's also doesn't have any meaning. Just seeing the fact as it actually is. This is wisdom. The very movement away from this seeing of the fact as it actually is the movement away from wisdom, which means the movement away from spiritual inward strength and the living energy. And that's the beginning of all conflict, misery, fear, being non-connected to universe, and not being able to move with the river of life naturally. All those things. So this is how important, this is how much importance it has to accept things with great wisdom as they are, with their real magnitude, actual magnitude. So this is very important. So here, what is important? To see that thought playing tricks on this thing. Because of this lack of wisdom and inward spiritual energy, thought takes over, makes things so dark. A job being lost can go 5 out of 10 on the objective level of this magnitude scale. It can go up to 9 out of 10. Same with like being diagnosed with a deadly cancer. If we are not aware of the thought process, if that light or wisdom is not there, observation, and then we fall into this trap of, like a vicious circle going deeper and deeper of darkness. We can't get out of it. So something which is comparatively simple problem in our lives, which is losing our job, because it's not the end of the world, really. It might be difficult, as I said, but not the end of the world, can be perceived with much worse perception than its actual objective magnitude. So this is thought, which with its tendency to make things look worse than they actually are. So this is something we have to be extremely aware of. This is what it means to acceptance, accept what is, the facts of our life. The acceptance doesn't mean, okay, this thing happened, I'll accept this thing. I'm a spiritual person. No. Just see, be rational. This is a problem in my life. And but the magnitude is this. Let's not place this neither on a lower level on this magnitude of difficulty, nor on a higher level. This is the magnitude. And let me deal with this. Being aware of thought, trying to make things worse, look worse than they actually are, and dealing with it, with this thing. This is wisdom. And if I can deal with this thing this way, then I'll have high level of spiritual life energy. And this is vitally important to deal with the facts of my life. Otherwise, I'll get lost in darkness, and will take so much of my time will be wasted. I'll enter into this vicious circle, go deeper and deeper into the darkness, and it will really be a big drama in my life, whereas it could be overcome with little suffering. That's what I mean. So this is really important to understand the acceptance of the things in my life. So another aspect of this subject is also very important. Acceptance of things doesn't necessarily mean I'll accept this thing as a real, eternal reality of my life. I lost my job, or let's say for the moment with the amount of income I have, I can afford a small flat. Let's say 1-bedroom flat, for instance. I accept this fact today, in this present moment. So I'm happy, I'm content. Right? I have gratitude for this. I'm happy. Because I accept this fact. And there might be other people who might not accept this fact. I said, what am I doing in this small flat in this, bad area of town? I am so unhappy here, right? So this is one approach, or another approach. One might say, okay, it is better if I have a bigger flat or a house with a garden with some more space. Agree. But accept it for today, which means live in the present moment. You will naturally accept, happily, joyfully, and then take the necessary action steps to change that reality, which means plan or save money, do this business, job, whatever. Right? So acceptance doesn't mean you don't want to change anything. Acceptance means accepting the fact today of having this small flat, because what changes if I don't accept? What changes is I'll be in resistance, in conflict, in darkness, basically, and my life energy will be sucked. And therefore, I'll be disconnected with the universal movement, and I'll probably lose. Because I don't have that energy and connection with the universe, I won't be directed with all those coincidences, meeting people and these things, to a better flat, a bigger flat. So, if I have that energy, then universe will take me to that direction. Which means for me to have that energy, I must start with acceptance of this moment. But I have total acceptance, happy acceptance. And then desire the change. But if there is non-acceptance now, and desire for a bigger flat, then that desire, you see, this is the point, then that desire doesn't have the original life energy. Because now I can't accept this small flat, right? Non-acceptance, that means I'm unhappy, there's no joy, I'm depressed, and out of that non-acceptance there is desire. This is one desire, one quality of desire, to have a bigger flat, better conditions in my life. And I accept it. Okay. I mean, I want a bigger flat. But for me, I'm so happy now. But I'll do my best to have a bigger flat. So that very joyful energy of living with acceptance in this small flat, and that desire that originates from that are two different desires. See the difference. One desire has its origin in the joy of life, which is so strong. The original source of the river is that joy. And when that river, the desire, starts from there, then it's strong, then it's connected to the universe. Then that desire will find its path to the bigger flat, through all these coincidences, law of attraction stuff, right? Another subject I will talk about later. Now, when you have such desire out of that joy, acceptance of the present moment, even if it is the small flat, I'm happy with gratitude. I accept this. Really happy because of I'm alive. And then that desire has its source in that living energy. Then it will find its way. But the other, if I start with non-acceptance of this small flat in my life, then it's so limited. Whereas the other one, the joyful desire, is so strong. Therefore the universe heals that desire. The other one is so limited in a vicious circle. It's not a strong thing. It's not a language that the universe can hear and understand. The universe can hear and understand the language of joy, gratitude, acceptance of things in your life. So, this is important to understand too. Accepting the things of your life is wisdom, energy, but acceptance of the things of your life doesn't mean you don't want to make any changes in your life. You can make changes in your life, but for the moment you start with acceptance and move with acceptance rather than starting with non-acceptance. When you start with acceptance, you start with joy, happiness, and then you are moving to the new destination in your life with this acceptance, joy and gratitude. When you start in this present moment is with this acceptance and joy, your future will also be in joy. Because what is in this present moment is also your future. This moment is the future. This moment, present moment, contains both the past and the future. What you are now is your future. Acceptance of the present moment with gratitude now, joyful living is your future. It is not in the future, it's in the present moment. What is in the present moment is your future. So, if you start with joyful acceptance of the things of your life as they are, spiritual acceptance, then you are moving. In this moment, start with this, then you are moving. Your future, your movement is always in this present moment, joyfully, with that wisdom of acceptance. But in this very moment, I don't have that quality of acceptance and wisdom of the things, the facts, the realities of my life, then my future will be the same. The conflict of non-acceptance will be tomorrow and the other day. So the change is now. See this. See that non-acceptance of the realities of your life is destructive. It destroys the living energy in your heart, which is the only true connection with the orderly movement of universe, of life. So, acceptance is wisdom and great energy, living energy, which will make us naturally flow with the river of life, connected totally to the universe. And the non-acceptance will destroy that quality. So this is the difference between the two. And see how important of spiritual acceptance of things in our life. Accept and don't say just I accept, but If there is conflict in you, that means it's not real acceptance. True acceptance is peace. The moment you truly accept, there is peace. The moment I truly accept the fact of losing my job, to accept, there is peace. And that peace is the wisdom, the energy, life energy. Right? And if I lose my job and I don't know what tomorrow will happen, I might not be necessarily in ecstasy today, but in that very peaceful state that came out of total acceptance, my mind is free from confusion and darkness. So I'll deal with this thing with light, with intelligence. Because if I don't have that wisdom and intelligence, then I'll be such in darkness. Then that means everything I do will make things worse and worse and worse. Which means I'll move to a worse future. But when that peace is there, with that, or that came with the acceptance of that fact, then I'll have the energy. Then I'll be connected with that energy. I'm naturally connected to the universal movement in the present moment, and that universe, which is life itself, will find a new path for me naturally. So this is very, very important to understand. The spiritual acceptance of things in my life and how important it is. So, see this. Unless you are at peace, totally free from friction and conflict and resistance, that means you are not really accepting the things of you. Spiritually. You are accepting them only, you might understand you are accepting them only when there is this sense of peace, no spiritual, so no resistance, no conflict. There's peace. So this is very important. And together with this peace, wisdom and acceptance, your life do what is necessary and be connected to the universal movement for the changes you desire in your life. But until then, stay in the present moment with gratitude, peace, and happiness. That's it. Okay. I think that was a good subject, to be honest. Quite interesting. And please think about it. This is real meditation, you see. Meditation is not just repetition of, it is not the repetition of mantras, or just sitting quietly in the mornings, which is okay, good, but it is not that. There is much more to it. Meditation is deep thinking, questioning, delving into these subjects like I have done now to understand life. Which means understanding of life the way we have done together now is wisdom coming into my life. And that very understanding wisdom is meditation. Right? Okay. See you next time then. Bye.